Kind of negligence. There are three kinds of negligence. First is the culpa acqualiana, second is the culpa contractual, third is the culpa criminal. A culpa acqualiana, also called a civil negligence, a negligence as the source of obligation, a quasi-delete. In culpa acqualiana are act or omission that cause damage to another, there being no contract relationship between the parties. This is the Article 2176 of the New Civil Code of the Philippines. In culpa acqualiana, there is no pre-existing contractual relationship. That means there is no contract between the parties involved. In culpa acqualiana, the master-servant rule does not apply because the negligence of the servants is not negligence of the master. We can say that negligence of the employee is not the negligence of the employer. Let's have an example. A pedestrian is hit by the bus through a reckless driving of the driver. Ito example na ito ay walang contract yung pedestrian at driver. So, the negligence of the driver is culpa acqualiana or civil negligence. Second kind of negligence, culpa contractual. Culpa contractual also called as contractual negligence, negligence in the performance of contract resulting to a breach. This negligence is the performance of a contract. In culpa contractual, there is always a pre-existing contractual relation, meaning to say there is a contract between the parties involved. In culpa contractual, the master-servant rules apply. Applicable ang master-servant rules sa culpa contractual. Ang ibig sabihin kasi ng master-servant is the negligence of the servant is the negligence of the master. That means if the servant is negligence, then the master is also a negligence. Ang example nitong culpa contractual is the negligence committed by the driver of the bus when a passenger is hurt during the trip because there is a breach of contract of carriage. The example there is a contract. That contract is the contract of carriage. Culpa criminal. Culpa criminal, also called as criminal negligence resulting in the commission of a crime. In culpa criminal is the negligence that results in the commission of a crime. This negligence is the cause why there is a crime. In culpa criminal, defense of a good father of a family is not proper because of the employee's guilt. Is automatically the employer's civil guilt if the former is insolvent. Meaning to say, kapag insolvent ang employee, automatically yung employee's guilt ay employer's civil guilt. That's why the defense of a good father of the family is not proper to defense of the employer. Let's have an example of culpa criminal. The passenger of the bus may bring a court action not only for culpa contractual against the bus owner but also one of the culpa criminal against the bus driver for the reckless imprudence resulting in physical injury. So, yung pasahero ng bus ay pwede siyang mag-fight ng case against the bus owner for culpa contractual. Kasi may contract between the passenger and the bus owner, pwede rin siyang mag-file ng case of for culpa criminal against the bus for reckless imprudence resulting in physical injury. The negligence of the bus driver is the case why there is a crime. The crime is the physical injuries. Take note of this. In culpa criminal, defense of a good father of the family is not proper defense. Also, in culpa contractual, defense of the good father of the family is not proper defense. Pero sa culpa acqualiana, defense of a good father of the family is a proper defense. May I read the distinction between the culpa acqualiana, culpa contractual, and culpa criminal? Yami is a driver of the carefully driven bus owned by the Black Bulls Incorporated. While traversing a highway, Yami did not notice Asta, a pedestrian. While crossing a pedestrian line, since the bus speed is not fast, Asta suffers serious but not fatal injuries. Yono, a passenger of the bus, likewise suffers serious but not fatal injury. What action can Asta and Yono takes against Yami and or a Black Bulls Incorporated? You can see in our illustrative, there are three kinds of negligence. This is or the culpa aquiliana, culpa contractual, and last the culpa criminal. May certain factor tayong kino-consider. Ang una ay the object or source of liability. So, sa culpa aquiliana, the source of liability ay negligence itself kasi ang source of obligation in here is quasi-delete. Second is the culpa contractual. The source of liability is the breach of contract due of negligence. Lastly is the culpa criminal. Is the criminal negligence because the object source of the liability is the leak. We have also the evidence. In order to prove the action in culpa aquiliana, ang needed evidence ay preponderance of evidence as well as culpa contractual. When we say preponderance of evidence, the more evidence we have, the more likely to win the case. In culpa criminal, there must be proved beyond reasonable doubt compared to the preponderance of evidence. Ang proof beyond reasonable doubt ay tumitingin siya sa quality ng evidence that we really point out the person is guilty of what action he did. Next is the existence of pre-existing contract required. So, sa culpa aquiliana is no. Ang kailangan lang ng existence of pre-existing contract required ay ang culpa contractual lamang. Hindi mo dapat ikaso ang culpa contractual kung wala namang contract between the parties involved. In 4-factor, you may take action sa culpa aquiliana. It may be Asta or Yuno. So, if we can recall the situation, si Asta yung pedestrian as si Yuno yung passenger. So, sa culpa aquiliana, ang pinoprove natin dyan ay may negligence. In culpa contractual, si Yuno lamang. Because si Yuno lang ang may contractual relationship doon sa bus company kasi siya ang passenger. Kasi si pedestrian ay dun lang tayo dadaan. In culpa criminal, as like in culpa aquiliana, sina Asta at Yuno ang pwedeng mag-take ng action. In 5th-factor action takings against, in culpa aquiliana, ang pwede mong kasuhan ay si Yami ang driver. Or pwede naman si Black Boats Incorporated which the owner of the bus or the both of them. Sa culpa contractual, ang Black Boats Incorporated ang pwede mong kasuhan kasi sila ang may-ari ng bus. Pagdating naman sa culpa criminal, ang pwede mong kasuhan ay si Yami kasi siya lamang ang driver ng bus. Last part of the factor is the defense of Black Boats Incorporated. In culpa aquiliana, exercise diligence in the selection and supervision of the driver is available. Sa culpa contractual naman, ang exercise diligence is the selection and the supervision of the driver is not available. Lastly is the culpa criminal. Ang Black Boats Incorporated is subsidiary liable if Yami cannot pay damage. There is no defense available since Yami's negligence is conclusive for purposes of subsidiary liability on the part of Black Boats Incorporated.
So, delay or mora, the word delay as used in the law is not be understood according to its meaning in common parlance. A distance therefore should be made between ordinary delay and legal delay in the performance of the obligation. So, for me, the word delay in Article 1169 of the Civil Code is synonymous to default mora, which means delay in fulfillment of obligation. Delay or default is non-fulfillment of obligation with respect to time. So, there are two delay, which is ordinary delay and legal delay. Ordinary delay is merely the failure to perform an obligation on time. So, for me, ordinary delay is simply the failure of the debtor to perform the obligation on time or on the day designated for the performance of the obligation. And legal delay or default or mora is the failure to perform on an obligation on time which failure constitute a breach of the obligation. So legal delay is, for me, it is when someone does not fulfill an obligation within the given time unto him. And there are three kinds of delay or fault, which is mora solvendi, mora accipiendi, and compensatio mori. So mora solvendi, the delay on the part of the debtor to fulfill his obligation. So mora solvendi for me is the delay of the part of the debtor within to give or to do. Mora accipiendi is the delay on the part of the creditor to accept the performance of the obligation. For me, mora accipiendi is delay on the part of the creditor to accept the delivery of a thing which is the object of the obligation. And the last is compensatio mori, the delay of obligors in reciprocal obligations. Compensatio mori is delay of the parties or obligors in reciprocal obligation.
Delay illustrative problem, unilateral obligation. An example of this is I will pay you 10,000 if you bring back my phone to me. Also, unilateral contracts are considered enforceable by contract law. General Rule Article 1169, no demand, no delay. There are two types of delay. First is ordinary delay, and second is legal delay. An ordinary delay is non-performance of an obligation after the lapse of agreed time but no demand yet. Legal delay, there is no still lapse of agreed time, demand has already been made. An example of ordinary delay is, ang due date is March 22, 2022. Hanggang ngayong April 21, 2022, hindi pa rin na-deliver, pero walang nag-demand. Oo, mayroon ordinary delay pero wala pang legal delay. Para magkaroon ng legal delay, mag-demand ka. Ano nga ba ang demand? Either judicial or extrajudicial demand. Pag nag-file ka ng kaso sa korte, judicial demand. Pero pag hindi ka nag-file at sinabi mo lang or deto, mag-deliver ka na dapat ng March 22, 2022 pero March 23 mo pa dineliver yan. Yan po ang extrajudicial demand. In which case, kung ngayon mo pa ginawa yung extrajudicial demand or judicial demand, ngayon pa lang nag-anchor ng delay debtor kung may penalty at interest ngayon pa lang ginawa na. Suppose on September 19, 2021, Noel demanded the delivery of the knife, and Roel did not deliver the knife until September 20, 2021. So, Roel is in delay because Noel demanded her that he cannot deliver the exact date that he promised. If Leah has already made a demand to Ira to deliver the particular to her on after July 18, 2021, which won the agreed period and still Ira did not deliver, then Leah is liable for damages because there is already a demand that has made by Leah upon Ira.
We have three under exception. Number one is when the obligation, the law expressly so decrees. Suppose Roel and Noel agree that Noel doesn't need to make demand for Roel to incur delay on October 25, 2021. Obligation so provides. So, kumbaga sa usapan, hindi na magde-demand si Noel in order for Roel to incur delay. So, yun nga, meaning, hindi na mag-a-apply yung general rule natin na no demand, no delay. Number two is the time is the controlling motive for establishment of obligation. Suppose the home gallery or the chef knife and Ruel obliged himself to deliver the home gallery to Noel to be used in Noel's food preparation for his birthday on October 25, 2021. In this case, the time, which is October 25, 2021, is the controlling motive by the obligation to deliver the chef knife was established. There is no point in delivering the chef knife in October 25, 2021 because the main reason the chef knife delivered to Noel is because the chef knife will use for food preparation in Noel's birthday. So, in this case, the time is the controlling motive why the obligation to deliver the chef knife was established in the first place. Number 3 is the demand would be useless. Suppose the home gallery got broken because of the negligence of Ruel. So, before October 25, 2021 arrived, the home gallery broke, let's say dahil napabayaan. So, that associated with negligence of Ruel. So, in this case, for example, dumating ang October 25, hindi nakapag-demand, assuming na hindi alam ni Noel na nasira yung chef knife. So, pagdating ng October 25, hindi siya nakapag-demand o kaya although hindi siya nakapag-demand dahil imposible na ma-deliver niya pa ito ng October 25 dahil nasira nga yung chef knife. So, it is still considered that Ruel is in delay even though Noel did not demand in delivering of the said chef knife on October 25, 2021.
Reciprocal obligation. Alice sold her only food truck to Betty for 1 million pesos. There was no agreement regarding the time of delivery and time of payment. General rule. When one party fulfills his obligation, delay on the other starts. Deliver the food truck on the same day to avoid incurring delay. Analysis. Suppose Betty paid 1 million pesos the following day. Alice must deliver the food truck on the same day to avoid incurring delay. Ni Betty ay nabayaran o binigyan ng 1 million pesos at kailangan niyang i-deliver ang food truck sa nasasabing araw para maiwasan ang delay. Kung hindi ay mag-iinikor ng delay. Suppose Alice delivered the food truck the following day, Betty must pay the 1 million pesos on the same day to avoid incurring delay. Parehas din yung 1 and 2 na kailangan ni Alice na i-deliver ang food truck sa nasabing araw. Si Betty ay kailangan niyang bayaran sa halagang 1 million pesos sa parehas na araw para maiwasan ang delay.